Good evening, Dr. Nathaniel, and to my classmates. Good evening. So this evening, I'm going to continue the reports of my group. My subtitle this evening that I'm going to report is Project Life Cycles. So we are going to discuss about the project life cycles. Now, what is the project life cycle all about? Project life cycle, also known as the project management, is a project management life cycle. So this project management life cycle, it refers to all the phases and the lists of actions necessary to fulfill a project's goals and objectives successfully. So that is the project management life cycle. Now, whether you are handling smaller or a multi-million-dollar projects, so you and your team should move sequential paths involving planning, execution, monitoring, much more. So those are the phases of the project life cycle. Now, we will have the 5 stages of the project life cycle. And before that, another definition, this project management life cycle, this helps bring both transparency and consistency to everyday workflow, leading to short success. So that's the definition of the project management. It helps both transparency and consistency, everyday workflow. So we will go to the stages of the project life cycle. So these are the stages of the project life cycle. The first one is initiation project, and the second one, the planning, project execution, monitoring, and closing. So these are the phases or the stages of project management life cycle. So as a manager, you and your team should lead every phase of the project. So let's cover the different project life cycle phases and one by one and see what they are all about. So we will go to the first stage or phase. So the project life cycle is starts with the initiating project or project initiation. So in this phase, you clearly outlined all the basic goals and rules. So as a project manager, you have to put a brainstorm and sell these ideas by presenting them to your superiors or investors. So this is initiation. Now, you have to consider steps during this initiation phase. So of course, you have to undertake a feasibility study. You have to identify the scope, identify the deliverables, and identify the project's stakeholders, developing a business case, creating a statement of work, and possibly initial costs, price, and timeline for work to be done. So you have to consider these steps in project initiation. Okay, so that's the first life cycle. The second one, this is the next phase. The project life cycle is planning. Planning helps provide a clear direction. So it provides clear direction to achieve the set deliverables on time within budget. Now we need to consider the steps on this phase planning. So the first we need to consider, we have to create a project plan. So if you have planning to do a project, a building or whatever kind of plan or project do you have? So you have to create a project plan. You have to develop the blueprints of your project. And of course, if you have the develop the project plan, you have to estimate the budget. So you need to sort out the budget and define all the potential costs, the financial plan. So this is very important in order to sustain the project's resources, equipment, and indirect costs. So that is the very most important in estimate budget. And the next step is estimate resources required. So you have to estimate what's the time or what is the needed. And the next one, anticipate risks on time and conduct a kick-off meeting. So you and your group or your team should have a meeting to discuss all the rules and explain the prioritized tasks, assigned job responsibilities before it started with your project. So that's the steps on this planning stage. And the next cycle, the third one is the execution. So in this part, this is the juicy, we consider this as a juicy part, because this is the most important phase where your plan will be put into action. So this is an action, not only planning, but you have to put into action your plan. All right. So so that is execution. And the fourth cycle or phases of this stage is the monitoring. So on this part or steps, you have to monitor and control or a big part of this phase. So maybe there are some issues arise and need a quick adjustment as the project progress. So you have to monitor. You need to monitor every now and then. And the last cycle of management project is the closing or the project closure. So once you complete all the tasks, attain the goals, and resolve the problems that occur during the project development process, so it's time for you to draw the line. So you have to sum up the things and determine the success rate of your big project. So that is the closure. Now, we will move on to the next subtopic, which is the employability skills. So what is employability skills? Employability skills, it refers to, can be defined as the transferable skills needed by an individual to make them employable. So that is employability. And it's also the core skills and traits needed in nearly every job. So as an employee, you have skills, you have a lot of skills, so that your employer will be attracted to you. Okay, so what are these skills, by the way? So there are 10 top 10 skills that are going to share to you. The first skill that I'm going to share to you is using initiative and being self-motivated. So that is the first skill. So you have to follow instructions, making sure you do not always have to be told what you do and when. So you use your initiative. Oh, this is the deadline, so I need to finish it before the deadline. So you have to use your initiative. So in our school, a lot of we used to make lessons plans. So don't wait for the schedule or the deadline. So you have to use your initiative. And of course, you have to self-motivated. So you have to see something through to the end and not be put off by the setbacks. And we need to go forward your own idea. So that is the first skill. And the next skill, which is the organizational skill. So this is also important skill for employees if you want to employ. So organizational skills you have to plan your work to meet deadlines and targets. And of course, you have to organize your own time and coordinate with others. So that is organizational plan. So you have to plan to meet your deadlines. And the next skill, working under pressure and to the deadlines. So that is the third skill. So you have to meet deadlines and targets. And of course, you have to handle the pressure that comes with meeting deadlines and targets. So if you have deadlines, so you have to be, you should remember that you can handle all the pressure or the challenges that comes to you during this time. So that is the third one. And the fourth skill, ability to learn and adapt. So you have to learn the new things. So just like in a few years back, so all the schools, even I think it's international, all the whole world, we need to adapt the changes of the teaching style, online teaching. So we need to study, we need to learn on how to use online study using this Zoom, Google, or whatever um, uh, um, communication we need to study, and we need to do it. So that is, we need to learn new things and learn from success and failure. Sometimes we are not perfect, and we do failure sometimes. So we need to learn from our own mistakes. And the fifth or the fifth one, or the fifth skill, communication and interpersonal interpersonal skills. So this is also important skill to be developed. So you can explain and present what you mean clearly, whether written or verbal. And you have to do your best to understand others. So you can communicate to your client and of course to your boss. And the sixth one skill is the teamwork. So you have um, understand how you and others work best together. And of course, sometimes you have things experience a lot of difficulties, but you have to do your best. And the seventh skill is the negotiation skills. So you have to think about what you and others want and need. So if you have this kind of skill, negotiate about business or what kind of transaction. So that's very good factor for you. And the eighth skill, valuing valuing diversity and difference. So in our in the school where you are working now, so a lot of teachers here in Thailand, a lot of faculties or teachers in our school. So some schools you have 30s and maybe 50 or 100 more. So we need to respect others and value the skills and experience that different people have, because not all teachers are the same attitude or skills. So you need to value, you need to considerate those people. So we need to respect others. And the ninth skill, the problem solving skills. So you have to identify key issue. So this is, you have to identify key issues and a problem, and use your knowledge and experience when tackling problems. And of course, you have to develop and test possible solutions. So what are the solutions of your problem? So you have to do this. Okay, and the last skill is the numeracy and IT skills. So use numbers and data to support to support your work and obtain meaningful information. So you can use or apply your valuable IT skills. So nowadays, 21st century, you need to use our IT skills. Okay. So those are the 10 employability skills. Now, if we are going to use these 10 from all the red ones, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to how you work. And the color blue, how you work with others. And the green color, how you think. So if you are going to use all these skills, you show all these skills, you will attract to your employer. So that's the employability skills. Okay, and the last subtopics of my report is about elements of project. Now, there are 4 elements of project management. So the first one is the budget, the scope, the time, and quality. Now let's discuss this one by one. So the first one is the scope management. Now, what is the scope management? So it focuses or it's focused on project scope, which in turn allows project managers and resource managers to plan assigned resources to it. So that is the scope management. So it describes you have to define how it will be developed, what activities would be needed. So that is scope management. And the next scope is the time management. So the time management enables the building of processes and schedules and ensures time frames are realistic and achievable. So in this elements, the time management, you need scheduling. Okay, you have targets, you have planned to finish this project. Okay, so that is time management. And the next element is the cost management. The cost management, you have to perform this exercise and allows you to plan a project's overall budget from estimating to financing to controlling costs. So that is the cost management. And the last element is the quality management. So this quality management, this element identifies everything needed to plan and produce a project that is effective and meets or exceeds the stakeholders' goals. So this budget and time and scope, together, these 3 elements influence the quality of a project's deliverables. So that's the end of my report. And thank you for listening and have a good night. Bye-bye. What's that?